you're saying, Your Honor, you're saying this is a criminal matter?
Yes.
Okay, well then we need the corpus delicti. You have the identification of the person, which is me, but you don't have a person saying that they were hurt or damaged, or the crime that's saying what I did to hurt or damage the person. So how do you have a crime?
You went to law school?
No, Your Honor, I have not.
You're in a whole different ball game, and you need to come on to this ball game here.
All right, guys, buckle up. Today's court case is a total heater. We've got Judge Perkins on the bench, and let me tell you, this judge does not play games. On the other side, a so-called sovereign citizen who basically woke up one morning and decided, you know what? I'm above the law. Yep, he's rolling into court with the usual nonsense, claiming made-up legal rights, citing YouTube videos as his source of law, and acting like the Constitution doesn't apply to him. Spoiler alert, Judge Perkins isn't buying a single second of it. Honestly, what would you do if you were the judge here? Drop your thoughts in the comments. But for now, let's dive into this courtroom chaos and watch Judge Perkins absolutely school this guy back into reality.
I'm going to give you a $0 bond. And I'll recall it once. What is your motion, sir?
I have a motion to strike and dismiss.
What are the bases?
Basis of federal rules of civil procedure. Number one, there's no claim. There's no ratification of the claim.
There is a claim. There is a. You want me to read out I waived the reading of the information. You want me to read the allegations that have been made into the record? Do you need me to do that?
No, I don't. No, I don't, Your Honor.
I deny your motion on that basis. What else do you have to say? What else?
You deny my motion because of what, Your Honor?
Yes.
There is no real.
I deny your motion because there is a and this is criminal procedure, not civil procedure. But I denied your motion because there is an allegation here.
You're saying, Your Honor, you're saying this is a criminal matter?
Yes.
Okay, well then we need the corpus delicti. And so that's what I'm asking for. If there was a criminal matter, basically what you're telling me is that something has happened, someone has either been damaged or someone has been or either someone has been damaged or someone has something has been come up missing. And if that's the case, then that means that there is a crime. And if there's a crime, then there is the what do you have that's saying that I did the crime? What you're saying that I created this crime that hurt this person, and if I hurt this person and I created the crime, then a third thing that you have to have is the identification of the person. You have the identification of the person, which is me, but you don't have a person saying that they were hurt or damaged, or the crime that's saying what I did to hurt or damage the person. So how do you have a crime?
Okay. You went to law school?
No, Your Honor, I have not.
And where did you get that? Where did you get that from? Where did you learn all that?
I've been studying for quite some time, trying to understand what's going on. I have a different perspective as to what's being said that happened. I'm understanding more necessary for a crime to go for them to bring a crime forward. I'm understanding that a bit more.
And where did you get that understanding?
I've done some Cornell law studies. I've also sat down with a couple of friends who have had some issues. I picked up wherever I could, just started to study the law. Just started to go back through Cornell law, started to figure out what was going on, and to understand the nature of how what a crime is, and everything else. So just a course of me searching it out.
And you're citing Cornell law for all of that you just said to the court?
No, what I did, Your Honor, was I realized that one of the biggest portions that you have to have is you have to have the corpus delicti.
We really appreciate how Judge Perkins is handling this case. He's calm, composed, and not letting anything rattle him, even as the defendant goes off on strange legal tangents. The man is quoting random laws from Cornell's website like it's going to impress the court, but it's clear he's way out of his depth. What's surprising is how confident the defendant seems, even though he's completely misreading the situation. It's almost like he believes he can outsmart the entire legal system. And Judge Perkins, who's been on the bench for decades. But the judge isn't buying any of it. Watching this unfold is uncomfortable, almost secondhand embarrassment. You really have to wonder how these self-proclaimed sovereign citizens think they'll actually succeed in court. Their belief system is hard to understand. But I'm curious to hear what you all think.
And that is when you're being charged criminally.
What is a corpus delicti?
What do you mean, what is the corpus delicti?
What is your understanding of what corpus delicti is?
That is the corpus delicti is the law that's saying that there is a crime that's being committed. So in order to do that, you have to show the corpus delicti, which is you saying this is what happened. This is how this person was damaged.
So,
there is
so
no
the
person.
Officer on this day, on these dates, because I got a lot of them, said that
I
you
object.
drove.
I object. The officer works.
Don't interrupt
Okay,
me.
I apologize, Your Honor. I apologize, Your Honor. My apologies.
The officer says that you drove a vehicle that wasn't registered and wasn't titled, or titled and or untitled, that you drove without a valid driver's license, that you drove without valid insurance. Again, on a different occasion, they allege that you drove without a valid driver's license and no insurance. And then on a different occasion, they allege that you drove without unregistered or untitled or both, and drove without a valid driver's license, repeat offender, that you failed to have a trailer plate, and that you failed to secure a load on your vehicle. And on another occasion, on the same occasion that you failed to secure, that they allege you failed to secure the load, failed to have a trailer plate on your vehicle, that you didn't provide a valid driver's license. So those are the crimes. And in state of Michigan, whether you agree or not, they are crimes. So based on your motion and all of that stuff you talk about, corpus delicti and things like that, the court denies the motion. Okay, based on those reasons I just said. Now, how do you want to move forward? Because wait a minute, I'm not finished.
My apologies, Your Honor.
How do you want to move forward? Because in my experience, someone that comes into court, as you do, you do not want to take an offer. You do not believe that you need to have plates or registration or insurance. And you just disregard all of that portion of the law, and either you are going to move forward by having a trial, or you're going to take a deal. What do you want to do, sir?
Your Honor, first I want to put my objection on the record. And at that point,
whatever your objection is noted. What do you want to do, sir? Do you want a trial? You have two options: trial, or you want to take a deal.
Your Honor, I request a jury trial.
A jury trial.
A jury trial, yes, Your Honor.
Very good.
This man is actually asking for a jury trial over traffic violations. He seriously believes that a group of everyday citizens is going to hear his case and say, yeah, running multiple stop signs and driving without a license is no big deal. Let him go. It's hard to wrap your head around that kind of logic. Jury trials are usually reserved for serious matters, things like felonies or major civil cases, not minor traffic offenses. It really seems like he's just creating unnecessary drama, maybe thinking he can pull off some kind of legal trick to avoid consequences. Honestly, I don't see this ending well for him. Walking into court and acting like you know more than an experienced judge, that kind of confidence without any real knowledge to back it up just doesn't make sense. But I'm curious. What do you all think? Let me know if you want this. Adjusted for narration or captioning.
I'm going to ask Mr. Gray, and you can choose to answer it or not.
Yes, Your Honor.
But what I surmise and what I've heard, and I don't know if you're alleging the same thing, is that and you basically did allege the same thing, that no crime has been committed because no person has been the people of the state of Michigan are in danger of you driving without the proper documentation or anything like that. But I don't, and I'm gonna surmise, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you're gonna say that there's no jurisdiction to be able to pull you over because no one has been injured. Is that correct?
I think that what I'm saying is that the city of Detroit had an officer pull me over to say that you're not following these rules. And my stance is, okay, well, then that's fine. If we're following rules, then therefore, let me make sure that you as well as are following the rules, because if I don't do that, then freedoms are lost. So that is in which, that is the way that I proceed, to say, okay, well then, if we're playing cards and we playing show me yours, if this is your hand, then this is mine, and let's proceed accordingly to the law. That's it. That's my only standing is, if someone doesn't stand up every once in a while and define the edges, then they all disintegrate and people lose rights.
And you know something? With that being said, I would agree with you 1,000%. That's why I pride myself, and I hope I'm doing a good job for the citizens that come in here, and the police for that matter, and the prosecution, that I am calling the balls and strikes right. And if something doesn't proceed as it should, then I will dismiss the case one way or the other. But in my short time on this bench, and in my time at practicing law as a defense attorney, I get this, they can't pull me over. I've heard the corpus delicti, first time the civil procedure has been thrown at me. But from the way I see it, is that you just don't feel that the police have a jurisdiction to pull you over for these issues. Is that correct?
Do I have again, Your Honor, what I feel is that if we are following rules.
To interrupt, but I just have to point out how right the judge was here. This defendant honestly believes the police officer had no authority to pull him over, as if public roads aren't governed by laws. That's just not how it works. Trying to argue that public roads are some kind of lawless zone makes no sense. Everyone has to follow traffic laws, plain and simple. It's basic common sense. I'm not sure why he's avoiding the judge's questions. Instead of just admitting he made a mistake, he's doubling down and embarrassing himself in the process. If he had just taken responsibility, this situation wouldn't be nearly as awkward to watch. These so-called sovereign citizens often act like they're above the law, but I'd really like to hear what you all think. Is there any logic behind this way of thinking?
Follow the rules, and every person out there, all of these officers, everybody else has to follow the rules. So if it comes down to it,
what I'm going to hope that you do by the time you come back on the trial date, jury trial date is going to be March the 18th, 2025.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're probably going to have an audience because everybody follows me on these cases all the time.
I understand.
All right, and I don't know if that's what you want, but we're gonna do that.
It's not that.
March the 18th, 2025. We're gonna have a final pre-trial date. Final pre-trial. This is to you, Mr. Bowman, especially the day before, on February 17th, 2025 at 8:30. So Mr. Gray and Mr. Bowman, Mr. Bowman, I need you to have all your officers appear on that date. Who's ever going to state these allegations, so that we know that we're not just summoning the people of the city of Detroit to a jury that's not actually going to go. So all parties must appear, and that can be via Zoom. And the trial is going to be in person. All right. All parties must appear on final pretrial date and obviously on the trial date. And what I would implore you to do is you need to figure out the right game, because it doesn't sound like you're playing the right game.
I understand, Your Honor. I appreciate, first and foremost, let me say, I appreciate the dialogue. I appreciate you sitting here and engaging with me at this level. So I recognize what you're saying, and so yeah, I guess it's to the table we go. So
yeah, but get your game in order, because I'm just giving
Yes,
you a
sir.
little heads up. If you come
Yes,
in
sir.
with that game on the jury trial date, then more than likely you'll lose, unless you can find one of those jurors or a couple of those jurors, or even all of them, to have some sympathy for you, sir. I don't know.
I got a whole basis for understanding, and so yeah, if you know it
Well,
it
that
is what it
basis
is.
that you outlined shortly today is not.
What was flawed in my what was flawed, Your Honor? What is
We
flawed
already
in my?
discussed it. We already discussed it. The federal rules of civil procedure that you brought up as a motion to dismiss, not the right basis. The corpus delicti, they do have a corpus delicti. They do have a crime that they say has been committed. And if you read the MCL, the Michigan court rules, and the Michigan statutes, then you'll see those crimes outlined there. They have them on the tickets. They got the statute numbers that are on the tickets. So that's not the right basis. So you're in a whole different ball game, and you need to come on to this ball game here.
Okay, all right.
What do you think is going to happen at this guy's jury trial in March 2025? Honestly, I can't see a jury buying into his sovereign citizen claims. The laws he's quoting don't apply at all, and the idea that traffic rules don't apply to him, that's been proven wrong over and over. If you're driving on public roads, you have to follow state laws. It's that simple. What's surprising is how confident he is, even though it's clear he hasn't done his homework. Judge Perkins has handled it all with patience, which is impressive considering how off track this defendant has been. This man could have just paid the ticket and moved on, but instead, he's dragging things out and risking a harsher outcome. His arguments are scattered, and I doubt any jury's going to take them seriously. Unless he gets legal help, this won't end well. What do you think? Is he really clueless or just pretending? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.